I'm going to do a search for flat abs workout on YouTube, and I'm going to see what comes up. Do you suppose anything's going to come up? Do you suppose that's something that someone might search for? Nobody knows. But I'm going to have a look at the first video that shows up, and I'm going to analyze it. I will let you know what's good about it, what's bad about it, and let's see if there's anything just plain weird about it. Okay, here we go. Flat abs workout. Let's see what we get. Flat belly in 2 weeks. Let's have a look at it. Right, I've had a look at the video, and it seems like before I start, there are a few things that I will need to say. The main reason why someone might have a non-flat belly is because there's a layer of fat there. And the only way to get rid of fat is through caloric deficit. In other words, eating less and exercising more so that you're putting less energy into your body than you're using up. Have a look at this video, the only way to lose belly or any fat. The next thing to remember is that there isn't any specific exercise that'll help you to lose belly fat. You can't decide where fat is going to come off your body. If you go into your caloric deficit, exercising more and eating less, you will lose fat, but you can't decide if it's going to come off your belly or your legs or your face. That is unfortunately not how the body works. For that reason, going for a brisk walk, for example, is a better strategy to attempt to lose belly fat than doing abdominal exercises, because the brisk walk is going to require more energy, so it's going to be a better way to get you into caloric deficit, which of course is the only way to lose fat. The only way in which a muscle can change shape is by getting bigger or smaller. That's it. There is no toning, but that's a video for another day. If you want to get great muscle definition, the way to do it is to build the muscle and decrease the amount of fat that's covering the muscle so that you can actually see it. Stability training is really important, and it's the ability to resist movement, like I'm resisting movement here while I'm sitting on the ball. But it is a very slow way to build muscle, and therefore a slow way to get good muscle definition. If you can do a movement more than about 12 times, you are doing muscular endurance training. In other words, the movement is easy enough that you can do it more than 12 times. Muscular endurance training is also a very slow way to get good muscle definition. Strength training is what you need. One of the things I love about this so-called flat abs workout that you're about to see is that most of the exercises will get your heart rate up and will therefore contribute to your caloric deficit, which of course is the best strategy we've got for losing fat and belly fat, I guess. But remember that none of the exercises specifically targeting the abdominal muscles are going to be any more effective than any other exercise that gets your heart rate up. Knee raises. This is a muscular endurance exercise, which of course is a slow way to get muscle definition, and it's mainly for your hip flexors, which are the muscles which raise the thigh towards the abdomen. Wait, what is this? How does she know how many calories you're using? She doesn't know anything about you. No one can tell you how many calories you're using if you haven't given them some info about yourself. It's like trying to guess how much fuel a car uses when the only info you have is that it's a car. Please ignore this number. Side bends. This is good for maintaining... Whoa, wait a minute. I have to stop because I just saw something crazy. Can you see it? It's the elephant in the room, as the expression goes. Take a moment to find it. Yep, that's it. 2 weeks. 2 weeks? How? There are no quick fixes when it comes to changing your body. If there was a quick fix, it would be the biggest news story all over the world. The battle against belly fat, which has been raging on for decades, would finally be over. Everyone would simply need 2 weeks to get a flat belly, and none of the other strategies out there would matter anymore. $1 billion industry would collapse overnight. Why has this never happened when we are constantly hearing about new products, diets and exercises to get a flat belly easily and quickly? Needless to say, this is something else to ignore. Side bends. This is good for maintaining mobility and flexibility, but so are most exercises. The almost non-existent resistance to the side bending motion is not enough for any significant gains in muscular endurance, strength, or muscle definition. Flutter kicks. Is that what this is actually called? Okay, this is something you might hear me saying quite a lot. Any exercise involving lying on your back and lifting your legs is an exercise you don't need. Have a look at this video, it explains everything. In this movement, the abdominal muscles are stabilizing the hips. That's why you feel it in the abs. But remember, feeling the burn in a muscle does not burn the fat covering the muscle. That is simply not how the body works. So this is a stability exercise, but it's not a great one. There are much better stability exercises out there. This is primarily an endurance exercise for the hip flexors, the muscles which raise your thighs towards your abdomen. Now, very important. In this position, the hip flexor muscles pull incredibly hard on your lower spine and your pelvis, because that's where the muscles attach. And they are doing this in order to lift your legs. And let's face it, legs are pretty heavy. So this puts unnecessary strain on your back, and it could cause excessive arching of the back, which is going to make things even worse. It is less risky to do this exercise with your lower back flat on the floor, unlike our CGI friend here is doing. But rather just skip this exercise completely. Regardless of your level of strength and fitness, your time will be much better spent doing proper abdominal strength and stability exercises. Heel touch. This exercise is excellent for cleaning the mat. Let's see what's happening here. You're bending sideways, right? You're using your abdominal oblique muscles to bend sideways, but not against any resistance, apart from the mat cleaning function, of course. This is like moving a weight sideways instead of lifting it. Like what? This is a muscular endurance exercise because it's just so easy, and it's an awful one. It's worse than those side bends we saw at the beginning. If you hold your shoulders off the floor, like our CGI friend here is doing, the abdominal muscles take on a stabilizing role. They are preventing your head and shoulders from moving back down to the mat. But, of course, there are much better stability exercises out there. This is the worst exercise in this program. Scissor kicks. This is similar to flutter kicks, but with this one, there's less strain on your back because the angle of the legs in relation to gravity has changed. So the risk is smaller, but still, it's a lying on your back and lifting your legs exercise, which I maintain is something nobody needs to do. Jumping jacks. These are awesome. This is a great multi-joint movement that'll get your heart rate up, helping you achieve caloric deficit which, of course, is the only way to reduce belly or any fat. Of all the exercises so far, this is the best one for getting flat abs. Seems unlikely, right? You'd think that by doing ab exercises you'd get flat abs, but as I've said, that's not how the body works. Oblique twist squat. I like this one. It uses the largest muscles in your body, meaning it requires a lot of energy, contributing nicely to, guess what? Your caloric deficit. This is a good stability exercise as your core muscles must work to maintain your posture as you squat. The abs are contracting in the twisting movement, but the resistance, of course, is too little, making this yet another muscular endurance exercise for the abs. And muscular endurance training is a very slow way to get muscle definition. Bridge. This is primarily a muscular endurance exercise for the gluteus maximus. It's also a stability exercise involving your lower back muscles. The abs do very little here, but that's fine. It's essential to include movements like this in any abdominal training program. We always work in opposites, so if we train the front, then we must train the back too. I like this one. T-plank. This one's excellent. Don't get me wrong, it's not excellent for getting flat abs. For that we need caloric deficit. But it is an excellent stability exercise because it involves balance and movement. If you want to make it more challenging, use slow, controlled movements and place one foot right on top of the other in the side position. Knee drive. This is very similar to knee raises. It is yet another muscular endurance exercise, a slow way to get muscle definition, for your hip flexors and even your shoulders. Yep, this one might make your shoulders tired. So there it is. There's the workout for getting a flat belly in 2 weeks. She does go back and do additional sets of some of the exercises. I don't know what the rationale is behind doing so many of one exercise and so little of another one. Overall, I would give this routine a 0 out of 10. 0 out of 10 for losing belly fat, because, as I said, there's no particular workout or no particular exercise that can actually do that. Where fat comes off your body is unfortunately not up to you, it's up to your genetics. This workout is mainly muscular endurance training and cardiorespiratory training. But what does that mean? Well, muscular endurance training makes you good at doing things many, many times. So if I'm doing that, what is it called, knee drive, if I can do that 1,000,000 times, then it's going to make me good at doing that 1,000,000 times. It's not going to build the muscle very quickly. It's not going to make me stronger very quickly. It's not going to give me muscle definition very quickly. And cardiorespiratory training, of course, well, that's going to get me fit. It's going to make me tired. It's going to get my heart rate up. And it will help me get into caloric deficit. So that's great. If you enjoy this workout, then go for it by all means. Except just don't do this one and don't do this one. These are terrible. It does get your heart rate up, so it's going to help you get to caloric deficit. Of course, you could also just choose your favorite activity like cycling, hiking, swimming, playing a sport. Anything that gets your heart rate up is going to be great for getting you to your caloric deficit. Okay, so you might be wondering, what would I say to someone if they asked me how to get a flat belly? Well, I think I've got like about 4 different things I would say. Firstly, I would say that the only way to get fat off your body is by caloric deficit, which means eating less and exercising more. I would add to that, this is the second thing, to stay really well hydrated, and that makes the exercising more part much more pleasant. Then I would say, unfortunately, we can't decide where fat comes off our body, so maybe the person will be lucky and it will come off the belly first, or maybe it will come off the belly last. Strength training, very important. If we go into caloric deficit, then we're going to lose fat, but unfortunately we're also going to lose muscle. Yeah, that's annoying, but it's just something we have to live with. The way to minimize that is to do proper strength training, which means heavy resistance. And that's the best strategy you've got for maintaining your muscle mass. And finally, what am I on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I don't know. I've lost count. Fitness. Stay fit. The fitter you are, the harder you can exercise, obviously, and the harder you can exercise, the more energy you use up, and that, of course, is going to contribute nicely to your caloric deficit. Wow, how many times have I said caloric deficit in this video? I don't know. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something, and most of all, I hope that my videos will help you make the absolute most of your workouts.